get to know a little bit about who's joining us. At this point, I'd like to welcome everyone with us today. We're going to have a very informational and impactful event. Thanks to Diana Alfaro agreeing to join us. I'd like to speak a little bit about our new program. Our new program is the Illinois Coronavirus Response and Relief Business Center, and this is in partnership with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council. This is a federally funded program through the Minority Business Development Association, or MBDA. And our mission is basically to bring as much understanding and awareness of any available and existing government and non-government resources. We are hoping to bring as many consultants, subject matter experts, and government partners to bring awareness of the different financial opportunities, addressing supply chain, organizational development, technology, sales, legal, and that's just a small sampling of what we plan to bring to our constituency, those that take part in our program. And without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Diana Alfaro. She is a very good friend of mine, an old colleague from my days with the state of Illinois. If you don't know this, I've worked for the state for about 30 years. My last space with the state of Illinois was with the Business Enterprise Program, where you go to certify with the state of Illinois. And Diana and I created an incredible working partnership. I have much respect for the amount of knowledge and the things that she covers, both for the state of Illinois as well as federal and other financial and access to capital opportunities. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Diana Alfaro. Diana, take it away. And then I'll let you share your screen. Can you do that, Diana?
Yeah, thank you, Irma. Yes, I believe I can. And there we go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much to Kim and Charles, who were able to introduce themselves prior to us starting. I really appreciate that, because it gives us an opportunity to learn more about each other and how can we support each other and network with each other, because as we know, specifically with communities of color, like, we just lack that social capital, right? We lack of knowing who to reach out to, who is, who does what in the community. And so this really gives, an opportunity to like continue to stay connected with each other. So I invite you to connect with each other if you can in the chat. We're going to go ahead and dive into this presentation. So as Irma said, my name is Diana Alfaro. I am the Latinx Business Development Manager. I work for state government. I'm at the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. I specifically work in the Office of Minority and Economic Empowerment, also known as OME by our initials, OMEE. So who is DCEO, right? What is a state agency? What's the State Department? What do they do? So at DCEO, we provide service to 3 different bucket groups. So we work specifically with business owners and providing them resources, everything from grants, loans, workshops, tax incentives, the whole 9 yards. And we're going to go into that a little bit more specifically in the presentation. We also have resources for individuals. So if we have what's called the LEAP program right now. If you are low income and you need assistance with your electric bills, etc., we have a program for you. We also work with communities in providing local governments and local communities opportunities for funding, incentives, and other things. Today, I'm just going to focus on businesses for you all. So today we're going to talk about technical assistance, who can assist your business. We're going to discuss grants, loans, and other incentives. Also workforce, and then additional resources that I feel that sometimes as business owners, we are not quite sure or haven't heard of. And so I just want to make sure that you're aware of these opportunities that are also available. Sometimes they might be for you, might be for another business owner that you know. A number of you had mentioned like you work with clients, so that additional resources might be applicable to your clients. So let's go ahead and dive in. So on technical resources, we have at DCEO what's called the First Stop Business Information Center. And it's basically what the name means. It's a first stop. So if you hear, let's say you're watching a press conference from the governor or the lieutenant governor, and they talk about a program for businesses, and you're like, I didn't quite catch all that. Like, which office do I need to reach out to specifically? When does that program open? You can contact the First Stop Business Information Center in English or in Spanish, and they can provide you the direct information on where you need to go. So basically, they're like the hub that could connect you to any of the program offices, etc., throughout the state, specifically within DCEO for programs. So let's say you hear about a business regulation and you're not quite sure about it, you could call the first stop to get more information. So like you're like, hey, I just heard the governor mention about a business grant. When does it come out? Where can I get more information to apply? You could call them and they will be able to connect you to that direct information. So this is a very helpful telephone number to have. It's also helpful emails if you're not quite sure who to reach out to for something. You heard the governor talk about, business regulation, business program. You heard someone from DCEO, from our department on the radio, on the news, but you're not quite sure which office. Feel free to keep this contact information. The second one I want to talk about, it's a huge network, and maybe some of you are aware already. We have what's called the Small Business Development Center in Illinois Network, also known by their initials, SBDC. There are 3 different centers within this network. The first one is the SBDC. They provide at no cost business counseling. So if you have never worked with an SBDC, I highly advise that you connect with one of them, even if you feel like you have all your business plans in order, etc., because that would also help build your capital, right? They are individuals in the community that work with business all the time who are get asked from other business owners, hey, do you know of a business that does X, Y, and Z? Hey, do you know of a business in the area that's X, Y, and Z? Basically, they can help you connect to other businesses. And when they are referring out, they have to give at least a certain amount of businesses in that field. They can't just refer one. So that is a great opportunity for you to get your name out there. So what do the SBDCs do? They do basically everything at no cost of services to you. They do everything from your business. They can help you with your business plan. They can help you with your marketing plan, a marketing analysis, financial bookkeeping. They can help you apply for grants. They can help you apply for loans. They can walk you through on business credit, etc. So they're a really great resource to have. In addition to them, they have what's PTAC. And this is something a little bit that Kim was mentioning when she was doing her introduction in the beginning on government contracting and getting more access to government contracting. So that's what our PTACs do, the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, PTAC. They provide at no cost services to businesses looking into getting into government contracting. So that's everything from getting certified as minority-owned, women-owned, person with disability, vet-owned, how to find these contracts, how to bid on these contracts, how to review the contracts, how to do barcoding, packaging, etc. They are located throughout the state of Illinois, and again, they're at no cost to you. So if you really want to get into government contracting and you want someone to sit down with you and help you understand that review process, they could walk you through that at no charge to you. The third one is the International Trade Center. So they provide no cost services to business looking to getting to international exporting. So let's say you have a product, a beauty product, and you're already selling it in the local stores in the area domestically, and you're now thinking of taking that product and selling it abroad, let's say Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America, etc. They could work with you in connecting you to one of our 6 regional offices that we have around the world, and also do a free analysis on how prepared is your business to get into international exporting, as well as connect you with leaders in those local markets that you're trying to get into to understand where should you be selling your product or your service. So they also provide you access to foreign market information, documentation assistance, trade leads, etc. They're a really good resource if you're looking to getting into international exporting. These are 3 really great centers, and I highly, highly advise if you haven't connected with one of them, please do so, at least at minimum the SBDC, because they work with all businesses of all types. And that gives you an opportunity to just grow your network, grow in connecting with someone who knows about resources that are happening in the local community, that might hear about local pitch competitions, who might hear about private resources that could get you that information, as well as serve as a resource, right? So if possible, please make an appointment with one of them. There's 42 centers across the state. If you need one available in a different language, some of them, about 21 of them speak Spanish, a couple others speak other languages, so we could work with you and getting you connected to one that makes the most sense for you. And then if you're in the Chicagoland area, there are a bunch in the area. And if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna stop sharing for one quick second because my email keeps going off. I want to turn off my email. Give me 1 second, sorry about that. Okay. Let's continue. The Small Business Environmental Assistance Program, also known as SBEAP. So let's say you have a business, auto repair, baking, dry cleaning, etc. Any kind of business that has to abide by environmental regulations. You're not quite sure what those are, what state regulations that you need to be following, what environmental regulations you need to be following for your business, if there is any that you need to be, keeping in mind for your business. This is a really good resource that's also confidential, where you give them a call and be like, hey, this is the type of business I have in this area. Are there any state or federal environmental regulations that I need to be aware of, or I need to make sure that I'm following? And they can work you through that. They could give you more information. They could give you record keeping tools if you need any. They could walk you through that process, which is amazing, right? Because a lot of times these kind of experts cost a lot of money in the field if you're paying for consultants. And so if you are, if you have a type of business that you possibly need to be following environmental regulations, or you're not quite sure, this is a great phone number to call at the state. Our staff is out of the Springfield office, and just let them know, hey, this is the type of business I have. Is there any environmental regulations I need to be aware of or not? They also have a contact email as well. The other one is community navigators. Recently at the state of Illinois, we have partnered with over 100 organizations across the state to really do outreach to the hardest to reach business owners in underserved businesses in underserved communities, to ensure that we're raising awareness and accessibility to federal and state local government resources. And so we have partnered up with these navigators so they can provide technical assistance to individuals on applying for grants, applying for loans, etc. And we have partnered with so many organizations. There is a list on our website where you can find, community navigators in your area. If you're in Chicago, there's a bunch in different neighborhoods. If you're outside Chicago, let's say you're in the Quad Cities, you're in Carbondale, you're in Peoria, etc. We have partners across the state. And a lot of times, which is amazing, these partners reflect the community that they're serving. They're individuals, organizations who are trusted in the community to work with business owners. So many of them are representative of, the Black community, the Latinx community, the Native American community, rural America, rural organizations. And so they really do provide technical assistance to our business owners. And they have services in over 30 languages if you need assistance in another language. And so if you right now need assistance applying for, let's say, the SBAs, the Small Business Administration, which is a federal agency entity, you're applying for one of their loan programs and you need assistance, these community navigators can assist you with that. If you're applying for a state program and you need assistance, they can assist you with that at no cost to you. So this is another great way to connect with individuals in the community who are already, there to assist you with anything that you need. So in building that social capital and building that network, this is another great way to build your network, because you could connect with these individuals, be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what my business does. I just want to connect with you. Like right now, I'm not looking for any, or maybe you are looking for something. Or you can just be like, hey, keep me on your listserv. If you hear of grants, if you hear of loans, or hear about other opportunities that might be applicable to me, please let me know. So this is a great way to continue increasing your network in the community, for they're there to serve you. Another one is our office. The Office of Minority and Economic Empowerment, also known as OMI. So we really work on providing tailored and targeted outreach and support to minority, women, person with disability, and veteran-owned businesses. as well as all marginalized communities. We really serve as those equity champions in breaking down systematic barriers internally and externally. And we are a small but mighty team, and we do everything we can to support our business owners in providing more equitable access to the community. We have 3 business development managers, including myself. All of us serve our demographics. So minority, women, persons with disabilities, vets, marginalized communities, we serve everyone. Each of us have an expertise in working in certain communities. So my expertise is in working with Latinx, Latino, Latina, Hispanic-owned businesses, as well as Native American-owned businesses. Matthew Simpson, who's my colleague, he is our African American Black Business Development Manager. He has an expertise working in the Black business community, as well as persons with disability and veteran-owned businesses. My other colleague, Michelle Laura White, she specializes in women-owned businesses, as well as Asian and Pacific Islander-owned businesses. So feel free to reach out to one of us, all of us. We're here to assist you. We assist you by doing webinars, getting you information on grant opportunities. We work with you on, getting you access to state resources, to other resources. So we have every other Wednesday what's called Online with Omi. And all the business development managers get together and we work on providing you federal updates, state updates, local government, and private resources. So we combine all of that and have an open forum conversation with all their demographics that we serve to let you know of all these resources that are happening at that moment. And then it's open for any kind of questions, right? If you have questions on a different state agency, let's have that conversation. What questions do you have? And we'll try to connect you to those individuals. Access to capital is really big in our communities. We know systematically we do not have the adequate access to capital. So we try to do everything we can do. Get you more information, other private resources that are out there, and how to get access to those. And so we do that every other Wednesday. The first Wednesday of the month is at 10 a.m. The third Wednesday of the month is at 2 p.m. At the end of this presentation, I'll share a link. If you want to be added to our email listserv, we could email you about different opportunities. And then in signing up for that listserv, we do ask about demographic information. And that's because sometimes we know about different resources that are specific to one community. So like if you're an Asian-owned business, sometimes we know about Asian-owned resources for just those business owners. So we will email you as an Asian-owned business owner. These are resources that are specifically just for you. If we have other resources that are open to everyone, we will email everyone. Black-owned business, Latinx-owned business, women-owned, minority-owned, etc. And the list could go on. So we do ask a good amount of demographic information, and that's why, because we're just trying to make sure that information we find gets tailored to you. Sometimes it's by county, right? Cook County has their own resources compared to King, DuPage, Will, etc. So we just want to make sure we get you the information that's applicable to you. Regional Economic Development, Team Red. They're also within our office. They are a group of regional economic development managers who are assigned to different regions throughout the state. So these are the regions throughout the state, if you can see in the map. For those that are in the Chicagoland area, for the most part, you're in the Northeast. There are 3 regional managers assigned to your area. They work with all businesses, regardless if they're small, big business, minority, etc. They work with all businesses. So this is another great group to increase your social capital, your network. Get on their radar. Be like, hey, I'm in Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm in, Cook County. You are my Northeast manager. Like, what resources do you have for me? What resources can you connect me to? Get me on your listserv. So if there's resources I should be aware of, I'll make sure to get notified of that. That is something that's really great. Now, if you're in like Peoria, Quincy, Carbondale, Alton, Fairmont City, etc., we have other regional managers that are assigned to you, like the Southwest region, like Alton, Fairmont City, East St. Louis, etc. That's Tracy, who's on from our Team Red. So definitely connect with those individuals. And if you need assistance connecting to one of them, let me know. Feel free to email me and like, hey, Deanna, I was at this presentation. I want to connect with you. I also want to connect with my local Team Red member. This is where my business is located. All I need is where your business is located. And I will be able to connect you to your appropriate regional economic development manager so you could be on their radar. That way you could get resources and information from us, from OMI, also in resources from Team Red. That way, you know, I like to say all the time, who doesn't like a reminder, right? Sometimes we forget things. Life gets in the way. You see an email, you're like, okay, I'm gonna apply for that program a little bit, totally forget. This way, if we share the same information, sometimes it's not always exactly, but sometimes it overlaps, you will just get a friendly reminder. So highly encourage you to connect with Team Red, because this will also help you in increasing that social capital and, you know, staying current and what's going on in the economic development area that might impact your business. In addition, at the state of Illinois, we have what's called Starting Your Business in Illinois Handbook. Why do I share this when many of you that are on this call are already established business owners? I share this because many times we haven't engaged with many business owners, specifically business owners like color, women, person with disability, and vets, really haven't engaged before with the state. And so they started their business on their own. They, you know, they're 5 years in, 10 years in, and they're quite successful. I highly recommend this because it's a nice refresher. What else is out there, right? This handbook will go over research on like the Small Business Development Network, loan programs, other resources that just give you a quick refresher on like what else is out there in case that you ever need it, right? Let's say you have a business and you never thought you'd go into international exporting, but you know, you go in this handbook, you're like, oh yeah, there's this international trade center that could assist me. I think now I want to take this product that I have abroad, and how do I go about doing that? If you are starting a business, then this is extremely helpful handbook for you because it goes through the whole process of how to start a business in the state of Illinois. Everything from like registration, working with your local county, etc. So for like established business owners, that's a nice refresher. You can skim through that and go, you know, somewhat past that and go more into the resources. But this is a really good, helpful handbook. It's available in English and in Spanish. So funding. We have a loan program at the state of Illinois called Advantage Illinois. So what that means is we partner up with approved lenders in the state of Illinois to provide low interest rate loans to business owners, specifically small business owners. You could use this funding from everything from working capital, buying equipment, buying a building, real estate. The only caveat to the real estate is that it must be 51% owned by the business. So if you're a flipper, if that's your type of business, if you flip homes and resell them, we can't give you a loan to buy a house in order to flip it, unfortunately, because it has to be occupied by the business, 50%, 51% or more. There is a job creation requirement about $65,000. For every $65,000, it has to be one job. But I like to remind people to think like and think outside the box sometimes, because when we hear that, sometimes we as individuals say, oh, I don't know if, you know, how many jobs I'm going to create. And we don't always include ourselves. I think sometimes as business owners, we forget we're also employees. And I think that came, you know, really to light during the payment protection program last year with the pandemic. You know, as business owners, you're also an employee. So 65, if you're borrowing $100,000, you say, you know, it's going to at least at minimum retain one employee, because that's you yourself. This program is limited to only for-profit. You end up paying a blended rate. So let's say the lender that we're working with, that's an approved lender, is at 4%. We are about 2%. You'll pay about 3% back if 50% of the funds come from each entity. The only thing you need to do with the state is you're interested is reach out. They'll go over a little bit more in the weeds on the program, and then they'll work with you to find an approved lender. Once you find an approved lender, the lender and the state take care of the rest. You don't have to worry about I need to make a payment to the state, I need to make a payment to the lender. No, you only pay back the lender. The lender will make sure to work with the state and getting their money back. Everything will take care of itself on the back end. And there's no hidden fees. And there is a program within this that's called FAME that specifically targets minority, women, person with disability, and veteran-owned businesses. And that one's up to $400,000. But let's say you are a minority-owned business. Let's say you're an Asian-owned business and you need more than $400,000. You need $500,000. That's perfectly fine. You could apply to the general program of Advantage Illinois. We just have this very tailored FAME program because, as we know, as I mentioned earlier, systematically there has been a lack of access to capital to our minority, women, person with disability, veteran-owned businesses. So we try to keep this program to ensure that we could get more businesses in those demographics access to capital. So for FAME, up to $400,000. For Advantage Illinois, it's $1.5 million. Grant opportunities. Who doesn't like grants, right? And everyone's always looking for grants. I hear about that all the time. So at DCEO, we do have different grant opportunities. You might have heard there was a back to business grant opportunity to help business owners that were impacted by the pandemic. That recently closed. That was out of DCEO. But in addition to that, we do have other grants that are, being posted year round. The link that I have on the slide is the link where you can find all DCEO grants listed at any given time. So at any given time, you can go to that website and you will find every grant that is available from DCEO at that moment. Right. There is a number of grant opportunities coming down the pipeline for Rebuild Illinois. That's everything from like broadband, infrastructure, etc. Those grants are coming down the pipeline. There is one open right now if you're interested. There is another one for tourism attractions and festival grant program. So if you work in the tourism industry and festival industry, this is a program that's open until funds are exhausted for new and returning festivals and tourist attractions. So that might be something to be that you might want to consider. In addition to that, if you're a minority-owned business, our office has a grant program specifically for minority-owned. So it's a minority infrastructure capital program, also known as the Omigrant Grant. And so this grant, the Minority Infrastructure and Capital Program, provides grant opportunities to minority-owned businesses who are looking to buy buildings, renovate space, buy equipment, etc. We have another round opening up soon. The exact date is to be determined as of right now, but stay connected with us. We'll make sure to get you that information. But the one thing we do want to let people know is that when you apply for state grants that are non-pandemic relief related, because that has been a difference, if you're applying for non-pandemic relief programs, you have to be pre-qualified. And that's any state agency. That's DHS, that's DCEO, that's ICEJA. Like if you're applying for any other state agency, you need to be pre-qualified. So what does that mean? Most of the time, some of the business owners already have the first two steps, right? You're already incorporated in the state of Illinois. You already have an EIN or an ITIN number for your business. You have to have 3 additional steps. And this is where some businesses have, some businesses don't. You have to obtain a DUNS number. So DUNS stands for Data Universal Numbering System. It's a 9-digit number that you can obtain online for free. And it's basically a number that's like your business credit. It helps build your business credit. It just tells all the business owners that you're a legitimate business, etc. You have to also register with SAM.gov. SAM.gov is the federal monitoring system that monitors public funds going out, grant opportunities, funding going out. The one thing you need to be careful with SAM.gov, and I want to flag for now, is that many times third parties access that information. So when you apply, you might get an email from someone and be like, hey, I saw that you're almost done in the system, but for $600, I can help you finish that program. For $300, I can help you finish that program. You do not need to pay anyone. If you choose to pay someone, that is your right, but this program is completely free, and we have people like our community navigators, like our SBDCs, like our PTACs that I mentioned earlier, like myself, our Team Brand members, and other members of OMI who can assist you at no charge to help you get it through the SAM.gov, which costs you nothing. So if you choose to pay someone, that is your right, but I do want to flag for you that you do not have to pay anyone. If someone sends something to you, just keep in mind you don't have to pay anyone. I just want to flag it because sometimes that happens, and their disclaimer font is like super small on the bottom. It's easily to miss. So heads up there. GATA is the Illinois Monitoring System, the Grants Accountability Transparency Act, and GATA. So GATA is the one that we monitor our public funds from the state of Illinois going out. SAM.gov and GATA could take about 2 or 3 weeks. So what I found in the first round of the Omigrant Grant is that a number of minority-owned businesses were hearing about the grant opportunity about 2 or 3 weeks before the deadline. And so they started working on their, narrative, the budget, etc., that was needed. And then they were trying to work on this pre-qualification. But unfortunately, SAM.gov and GATA, do take about 2 or 3 weeks. So some of them missed the deadline because they couldn't get the systems in time, right? They didn't get their number back from SAM, or they didn't get their number back from GATA in time in order to apply. And so I highly recommend, if you're thinking of really applying to state grants, regardless if it's just DCEO or others, please work on getting pre-qualified now rather than later, because you do not want an opportunity to pop up and you not miss it because you were not pre-qualified. The pre-qualification is good for 1 full year, and then you have to just do a quick renewal and GATA, etc., just letting them know if any information has changed, if business information has changed, etc. So I highly recommend, when you're not super overwhelmed, to start working on this, or you don't have as much things going on in your world, when it slows down just a tad, to work on this, because you don't want to happen to you what happened to others, where they heard about grant opportunity, but they just did, and they heard it before the deadline, but they couldn't get pre-qualified in time in order to apply. And we would hate for that to happen to you. So if possible, please get pre-qualified. And if you need assistance, we have all those TAs I had mentioned, those community navigators, our office, OMI, Team Red, SBDC Network. We could all work with you on getting pre-qualified. Matter of fact, our small business development centers, the SBDCs, provide 2 GATA workshops a month, every location. So if you want like a webinar on GATA and how to apply, etc., every SBDC in the state of Illinois provide at least 2 workshops on that a month. So that will give you a great opportunity to get more access and more information from them as they're providing that monthly.
Diana?
Yeah.
Can I just, one big pointer that I put it in the chat, to make sure when you're accessing these websites that they end in .gov,
Yes.
because I did it right now. I Googled, and you'll have a number of different other websites pop up. You assume because it says Dunn's, Sam's, or whatever the case may be, but those are the ones that are going to potentially capture all your information, only to ask for a fee when you don't need to pay a fee.
Yeah, the SAM.gov is definitely .gov. The Dunn's does it. That's from Dunn's and Bradstreet. So just an FYI. And if you're not quite sure, this is what connections are all about, right? Feel free to email Irma. Feel free to email me and be like, hey, Gianna, I'm thinking of getting pre-qualified now. Can you send me the links to Dunn's? Can you send me the link to the SAM.gov? Can you send me a link to GATA? We are more than willing to send you that information, right? And if you're not quite sure, I tell people all the time, if you're not quite sure on something, or if you have the right website, the right link, feel free to flag it. Feel free to email me. That's what we're here for. We're here to assist you and make sure you have adequate, correct information. So feel free to reach out to us. Incentives. So tax incentives. The EDGE program is more for big businesses. It provides an annual tax credit equal to 50% for new full-time employees, and their payroll withholding tax for 10 years to companies that provide, create new jobs. These are the bigger businesses that are creating, large amount of jobs in the state of Illinois. Enterprise zones are, if your business is located in an area, specifically an area that's determined as an enterprise zone, this could provide you benefits, anything from material sales tax exemptions, utility tax exemptions, investment tax credits. You would have to apply with your local enterprise zone administrator. And if you're not quite sure if you are in an enterprise zone, your business, feel free to connect with us. That's what we're here for. Our office, our small business development centers, our community navigators, we could all assist you to let you know if you are in an enterprise zone. And if so, and you're not getting that tax credit, who do we need to connect you with and help you apply? That way you can get that tax credit. Angel tax credit. This is for more innovation companies who are in the early stage and they're needing more access to capital. So the way it works is that investors can get a tax credit. So the investor has to apply as well as the company itself. also needs to apply. And that state tax credit is equal to 25% of their investment, which is really helpful. This angel tax credit is ongoing until it's been tapped out. So if that's something that you're in the innovation phase, this might be something to consider. The workforce. We have what's called Illinois WorkNet Center. It is a portal that's extremely helpful as a business owner, as a job seeker. It's extremely helpful to you. And let me say how it's helpful to you as business owners. As business owners, if you're needing employees to hire, you're not quite sure where to find them, where to post information, this is a huge database, i.e. the Illinois Department of Employment Security, as well as so many other workforce centers use this database. So you get so much exposure by putting, like, I'm looking for, let's say you're in a restaurant, I'm looking for a waiter or waitress, I'm looking for a social media specialist, etc. You could post your jobs on this website at no cost and extremely helpful for you. Also, if you're looking to hire multiple people, you could do a virtual job fair and they could work with you on that. As well as, let's say you're looking for employee trainings, they could provide that information to you where your employee could get certain training opportunities. Let's say you're looking for more information on the labor market, right? If you're about to open a second location and you decide you're currently in, let's say, Harvey, Illinois, and now you're looking to go into the northwest suburbs. Let's say you're trying to go to Des Plaines. Like, understanding the labor market is important. So they could work with you on understanding the labor market, like what is available. Would you find the right individuals with that right skill set that displays the right draw for you, etc. So this is a really good website with tons of free information, tons of free resources for you as a business owner. Highly encourage you to take a look at it. If you have not even took a look at it, here's the link. Go through it a little bit because this is a great resource for your business. And again, it's all about getting that, obtaining that information, obtaining those resources. And this is one that's fabulous for you as a business owner. Additional resources. So one of the additional resources I want to talk about is from our Office of Illinois Tourism. So tourism has this program called Illinois Made. It celebrates makers, creators, and artists who help craft Illinois. And they do a promotional campaign, like if you're visiting Illinois, hey, you should check out this Illinois brewery in so-so neighborhood. You should check out this Illinois restaurant that's, Illinois made of empanadas, this coffee shop in Brownsville, you should check it out, etc. This is a really great way for your business to get like promotion and marketing and draw people to your business. And so if you fall into these categories, I highly recommend that you take the opportunity to look into this program a little bit more, because you can nominate your business to be profiled. They accept nominations year round. They just announced a set of Illinois Made Makers about a week or two ago. But this is a great way for free promotion. I say it all the time, like as business owners, we just need to get the draw. And why not get the draw from, tourists who are coming in who might, post on their social media. I tried this great coffee shop in Chicago. I was at X, Y, and Z here. So this is a great way to get like that free promotion for your business. In addition, our office, OMI, is working on obtaining information from Black-owned businesses. We are doing a survey. We're partnering up with the Chicago State University as well as the Chicago Urban League to really gather information from Black-owned businesses on what's working, what's not working. We're hoping this data will assist us in creating more tailored programs that meet the needs of Black-owned businesses. And that is extremely important because there is a lack of data of truly understanding what is needed for Black-owned businesses in the state of Illinois. There is some data still lacking, but there is some nationally of what's going on in the Black business community. But we're really trying to hone in on what is going on here in the Illinois Black business community and really try to see how we can meet their needs and what can we do, what kind of programs can we create, can we tailor anything. So if you're a Black-owned business on this webinar, I highly encourage you to share your feedback, share your voice. And how this helps you in the long term is us getting that information and tailoring your resources that meet your needs, right? Without hearing from you exactly what is going on, we, the data needs to back it up, right? Sometimes we are in, spaces where we're hearing all this in the community, but the survey really helps us understand and show to individuals, hey, we got 300 Black-owned businesses, 90% are saying X, Y, and Z. Like, we need to address this need in the Black business community, right? And so the more we hear from you, the more that strengthens us in really understanding what we can do for the Black business community and how we could tailor it. So if you have a couple minutes to spare, highly recommend for you to take the survey as a Black-owned business. And that's Black African American, that's Black Latinx, Afro Latino, etc. We're calling it all Black business owners throughout the entire state of Illinois, from all the way from the northern state line all the way to Cairo, to the very tip of Illinois. We're trying to get information from all Black-owned businesses. In addition, it's Native American Heritage Month. Thank you. Happy Native American Heritage Month for those that are on the call. We have 2 events coming up. We have one tomorrow. We're partnering up with the Native American Chamber of Commerce for all our events for this month-long celebration. So tomorrow we will be at their 3rd annual Native American Professionals Breakfast, going over resources for the Native American community. And then on Tuesday, the 23rd, we will be doing a Facebook Live webinar on the resilience of Native American business leaders and shedding light on their resilience and how they have, gotten to success and sharing their methods for success. And so those are 2 upcoming webinars. So I wanted to let you all know, as right now we're celebrating Native American Heritage Month. In addition to that, we want to thank all the veterans that are on the call. Last week was Veterans Week as well as Veterans Day. So thank you to all our vets who have served and served in their sacrifices. This one I'm not going to share too much. Irma used to work at BEP, as she mentioned in the beginning. Number of you, I think, are certified already as minority or women-owned. And if you're not, I know the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, where Irma works, has a certification. The state of Illinois also has their own, which is this one, the Business Enterprise Program, the BEP. It's free of charge. So if you're not quite sure you're going to be utilizing a certification, I highly recommend looking at the state one because it's completely free. Once you get that and you feel like you can leverage the certifications a little bit more, right? You're a contractor, you're in STEM, you're like, I could do this, I could do that. Then look into tapping into the other certifications because that will be very helpful for you. And feel free to reach out to Irma's an expert in this. She's stronger in it than I am, but I'm pretty strong in it too. So feel free to reach out to either one of us, but Irma is your go-to for this one, I would say. Here's my contact information, my cell phone number. Feel free to call me, text me, email me, whatever's your preferred method of communication. If you text me, I just ask that you identify who you are so I kind of know I could put a story to a person. Also, here's our link to our listserv. I'll put that in the chat if you want to stay connected with us, and we will make sure to get you tailored information on what's available to you. Are there any questions? And I feel bad I went a little bit over.
Diana, we have a question from Charles, and it's been answered in the chat, but it's a good question. Is there a cost for Sam's renewal? So a few of us responded that there isn't. So
no, there isn't.
Expand on that.
There is not. Unfortunately, very similar to when you first register a SAM.gov, there's third parties that access that information, and then they email you, making you think, because they're pretty good. I see some of these emails. I'm quite surprised how clever they are. And they will put information in there and be like, hey, if you need to finish your registration for $300, we can help you do that by X, Y, and Z. And then they have a very, 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 very fine print at the bottom, or so they're supposed to have it, saying that they're not affiliated with the federal government. But as of right now, stamp.gov, even for the initial registration and the renewal, is completely free.
Great. Any other questions? Again, as Deanna mentioned, certification is very important. I see that many on this call today are familiar to me working with you when I was at the BEP. So I applaud you for going through with the certification. And we will be presenting later on certification as well as RFPs, business strategies, marketing solutions. We have a very robust list of webinars that are being presented by subject matter experts and consultants that will, for many, will have the potential of providing one-on-one consultation services to people that attend these webinars. So keep a lookout for our upcoming events. We will probably tap Deanna again to come out and share, because these things are continuously being updated. They either fall off or new ones come up or things get renewed. And our purpose is to keep you informed. And I know Deanna's is as well. I can't think of anything else. Again, I encourage you to
if I could just
fill out I'm sorry?
I see a couple questions and I want to quickly address it.
Yes.
Can I?
Yes.
Someone had a question about GATA. How do you check if you're registered GATA? I just put a link into the chat about GATA, and you can actually go to the GATA portal and check if you have a registration or not. And if you have trouble with it, feel free to connect with us and we can help you through that. There is a streamlined process if you are certified with BEP I know there's one at BEP. If you're certified with the city of Chicago or certified with Cook County, there is a fast track at BEP to get certified with BEP. And if I remember correctly, it's also reversible, right, Irma?
No, the state of Illinois recognizes the city of Chicago and Cook County. However, it's not reciprocal. So keep in mind that one of the main differences is they charge and we don't. So it wouldn't be in their interest to recognize a free certification. That's the best explanation we've been given as to why we're not reciprocal. So if you do have that city of Chicago or Cook County, come to us, come to the state of Illinois. Still, 30 years in government, I still call it us. So go back to the BEP, present your certification. And I believe they ask you for 3 things of information. They may ask you for your revenue size, maybe business license if it applies to where you're based out of, and proof that certification that was awarded to you by whatever entity. So whether it be the city or the county. And then there's other recognition that they currently have agreements with, like Diana mentioned, it's the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, the WBDC, and other entities. Again, feel free to reach out to me for anything BEP related or anything else related, because as Deanna mentioned, we have a very large network to tap into, and we never pretend to know everything. And that's why it's important to maintain these relationships, because I feel very comfortable reaching out to Deanna, and Deanna feels very comfortable reaching out to me wherever it is that we need to fill in the gap. I provided a link for our intake form. I see that some have already filled it out. If you haven't, this also helps our program to determine what needs that you have currently that we are not meeting, or things that we need to look into to either bring back to where they were if they're no longer available, or now with this pandemic, a lot of things that weren't needed in the past are now becoming fast the norm for a lot of us. So I'll share my screen with you again, and feel free to ask any questions. You could, let me unmute you. Wouldn't that help, right?
And then while you're doing that, I just want to say, I want to address Will and Charles' question about the Omigrant Grant. When would it open? We're not exactly sure when it will open, but I put in the link where you could sign up to get on our listserv, or feel free to email me and be like, hey, I was at this presentation. I am, just give me a little bit of demographic, right? Because it helped me tailor that information. I'm a Black-owned business out of Cook County. I'm a Black-owned business out of DuPage, Latinx-owned business out of X, Y, and Z. I'm a Black women-owned business, etc. I can add you to our listserv myself, and we will be sure to keep in contact with you and email you as soon as that grant opens.
Okay. Did you say was that the survey you sent from Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council?
I sent one, and it should have the CSU, Chicago State University, as part of the link.
Working on that.
Yeah, that's the Illinois Black Business Survey. But to stay in contact with us, I put another link in the chat, and that's our listserv. And I'll ask you where you located, what type of business you are, the name of your business. And so I put that at 351 if you go through the chat.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah,
Perfect.
I put
Also,
it in as well.
for everyone on this on this webinar, keep in mind that we will be sharing both the deck and the recorded webinar with everyone that attended today. In the deck, most of our links are live. Diana, is that the same for yours?
Yeah, all my links in my presentation are live. So once you email them the PowerPoint, they'll be able to click on any of them.
Perfect. And then again, you will have all our contact information, all the links, the recording, and every way for you to contact us. So don't hesitate. There are no dumb questions. I've learned a lot as a result of our vendors asking these questions. Do not ever hesitate to reach out to us. You never know. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Sorry, Irma. And then I see we're coming close to time. Can I just announce 4 quick things, if that's okay?
By all means.
I'll make it quick. I'm with the Department of Commerce, but I do want to let you know that there is another state agency that has a child care resurrection grant open. So if any child care providers are on the call, round 4 of the child care resurrection grant is open until December 15th. So if you're a child care provider, like definitely take a look at that. That's open until December 15th. If you're a minority owned restaurant in the area, Dish Relay Kitchen has a grant that's open. The deadline's the end of every month, and then they reopen it at the beginning of each month, and they provide small grant opportunities to minority-owned restaurant businesses in the area, in the Chicago area. I highly recommend, as a way to promote your business, a way to promote yourself is, look at these awards. There's all these awards out there for like Entrepreneur of the Year, Young Entrepreneur, Latinx owned business in the suburbs, etc. Utilize those to your advantage because it's free promotion, right? It gets free draw to you. So right now, Negocios Now, which is a bilingual newspaper in the Chicago area, has the Latinos 40 under 40. And that's not just business, that's other things too. Like that's nonprofit, that's leaders in the community. So if that's something that's applicable to you, please look into it a little bit more. Their deadline's in December. And then the last thing is I want to mention a private grant because we know there's a lack of access to capital in our communities. Is the NBA and the WNBA is partnering up with LegalZoom, and they have a grant right now that's open till November 23rd called Fast Break, and that's open across the nation. So if that's just something to consider if you're looking at more grant opportunities. Thank you, Irma. Sorry.
No, thank you, Diana. Again, the more she talks, the more I'm going to be asking her to join us for more. Maybe we could do one specific to childcare. Again, we're trying to address all the needs that our small businesses have, in particular our MBEs. So I'd like again to thank you all for taking the time. I know we've all been webinared out, so I appreciate you taking the time to come in and listen to us. But I also want this to be our open door to you to continuously rely on us to come in for more information. I'm sorry, I thought I was sharing my video, but I wasn't. So I'm learning about webinar and Zoom and everything. I'm going on my 2nd year and I'm still getting the hang of it. But again, like I said, I hope this opens the door to you to come to us, to feel comfortable, to bring your questions and concerns. Like I said, our network is pretty wide, and though we may not have the necessary or the needed resource at the moment, we could always reach out and identify what would work best for you. Diane, do you have any question? I'm sorry. Yes.
I know that we're over. I'm so sorry. But may I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, hello. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in the room. Melanie Patterson, founder and managing director of Integrity Transit Co. We are a minority woman-owned freight transportation company. So we have on the federal level, we're ED, WOSOB, WOSOB. On the local level, we're MBE, so on and so forth. BIP certified. And so I've exhausted those opportunities, and now we're looking to scale and grow into WeBank. I know that, maybe my question is, should I start with SBDC? And then my second question is there any programming that will help to front the cost of becoming WeBank certified?
Melanie, when it comes to certification, I'm not aware of any type of grant or funding, and that might be something if Deanna knows about, I'd be happy to let her jump in. But when it comes to certification, are you looking to like get certified, for example, with WeBank or the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council? Because their fees could either be on a sliding scale depending on your revenue, or it may be a set fee. Depending on the opportunities that you want to tap into, that may dictate the type of organization that you want to get certified under. Did I understand your question right?
Yes.
So I was going to jump in here and say, great question, Melanie, with what you're asking. I would advise to go. So a lot of within the centers, the SBDCs, the PTACs, ITCs, a number of them are housed together. So what you're thinking of doing, I would go to one that has an SBDC and PTAC. And the reason why I say that is because you want to get the SBDC on the general resources of your business, right? You're starting, you're growing, you want to connect that over. Then you also want to tap into the PTAC because you're looking into getting that certification as a women-owned, minority-owned business, as well as getting to the government contracting. So that way you have like a one-stop shop versus going to multiple organizations. There are a number in Chicago that have both centers in their locations. I know the Greater Southwest Development Corporation has an SBDC and PTAC, the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, etc. So there's a number of them that have both the SBDC and PTAC. So I would advise probably going with a location that has both to meet both your needs.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Deanna. And the great thing about these organizations is they're not limited to just government contracting opportunities. They have a very robust matchmaking database that could potentially match you with a corporate partner that may be in need of working with a company such as yours.
Dead on. And so that's what my team and I are looking to entertain as possible joint ventures with the larger 400, 500 companies that are part of that solicitation. They're obligated to do business with a BIPGO individual such as ourselves and things of that nature. So right on. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. More and more of these larger corporations are having to meet certain diversity goals, whether it be out of their own, good intentions, or because the government is putting more and more pressure on these larger corporations to increase their diversity spend. And as a result, more and more corporations, some that you never thought or heard of, every single one is going to be needing somebody to transport their goods and services, especially their goods in your industry. So by all means, even do your own research. Many of these large corporations do not require you to be certified with any given entity. It's a matter of registering your business with their diversity supplier program. So as you are out and about and you see these big companies, Johnson & Johnson, Motorola, AT&T, Verizon, somebody's having to ship their products to and from wherever they're coming. And if they could bring, number one, if you are a woman, minority owned business, you're already checking off 2 boxes right there. So take advantage of these corporate potential opportunities, because oftentimes you don't need that certification. They might just want you to come in and self-register, self-certify yourself. And that applies to everybody, whether it be if you're selling goods or services, these are potential opportunities. We have the different procurement bulletins with the state of Illinois. What many don't know is the community colleges are also under a lot of pressure to spend with MBEs. They don't have to work strictly with BEP certifications. I believe they take about just about any entity certification to work with them. So community colleges are under a lot of pressure to increase their spend because they're not mandated to list in the higher education procurement bulletin for the state. That is where they're meeting their challenge. They have to put it out in the newspaper, on their website. And again, almost every one of these colleges has a diversity, what do they call it? Diversity and inclusion procurement
DEI,
website.
yeah.
Yes. Just pick any company, Google any company, or just Google, diversity programs, supplier programs, and you're gonna get mad results. And it's just a matter of going in and registering. Oftentimes, there's smaller opportunities. Maybe there's something that they're not gonna post for $100,000, but they need you to move something for $20,000. That's your foot in the door to get potentially larger multi-million contracts, or for you to joint venture with somebody else. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
opportunities are
And one more
endless.
question. Do you know of any departments that that come to mind that are vamping up and are in need of carrier transportation and hauling services? I know one of my direct contacts are with Department of Human Resource, Illinois Emergency Management Services. Anything that comes to mind, Diane? Or
Melanie, the top one that comes to mind for me is the Capital Development Board. The person there in charge of diversity and all of that is Jesse Martinez, and he's an absolute powerhouse and actually bringing people on board and getting them involved with the procurement process with the Capital Development Board. So if
I could just jump in, I'm so sorry, I'm late for 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna hop off. But Melanie, if you want to have more conversation, like, feel free to email me and we can set up a time to go over more resources and more tailored to your business.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Diana, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Diana, for joining us. We appreciate it. You have a great day. So everyone else on the call, I provided my email address in the chat. I'll do it again. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. MSDC.org. Melanie, send me an email, and I would be happy to do an e-introduction with Jesse Martinez. And everyone else here, if you, whatever it is that you do, Miss Jackson, you have real estate. You could have had a potential opportunity with that big sale of the Thompson Center. They were very actively looking for
That's a huge one.
certified in the real estate arena. Mr. Anderson, with all the different things that, you got the solar installation. I could see huge opportunities with, universities and community colleges, as well as any other state facility. So the state of Illinois, you got to keep in mind that the state of Illinois and just about any government in the United States has to purchase anything and everything to keep a human being, surviving. So I used to say we buy everything but alcohol until I was corrected. The higher education, the universities do buy liquor. However, it's not common for an MBE to own a liquor store because it's such a highly licensed industry that it's not, a lot of times potentially viable for a small business to get into. So just keep in mind, everything from schools to padlocks to combs, toiletry items, the government purchases them. It's just a matter of you finding the right partnership and how to get your foot in that door. Sometimes you may want a $500,000 contract, but if you find one for $5,000, that's going to get you in the door and start that conversation with those decision makers. That's what you need to consider. It's a pain. I know it's a pain to read and carry out a contract when it's for a smaller amount, but if that's going to get your name in front of somebody, then that's something you really need to consider.
So, Irma, I did participate in the information about the Thompson Center. It went nowhere. And so I think that's my concern, is that I'm not sure what's going on. There's something happening. There's a disconnect there.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because now that I'm no longer with the state of Illinois, I'm at liberty to say what I want. I highly encourage those that have been disappointed by the process to take advantage of those BEP council meetings. That is your one and only opportunity for you to come in and provide public testimony to the lack of utilization of our vendors. So that's when you're going to have all these high-level decision makers for the program in one place. And when you're bringing it to one person, it could get lost in the shuffle, it goes somewhere else. But when you're bringing it before 15 to 17 members, plus the director and the administration of the BEP, it's hard to ignore. And persistence is very, very important too.
When is that meeting held?
It's once a month. And let me make a note to send you BEP registration link.
Yes,
They
I've had the
happen
similar
every other month. And then the 1 month is the full council meeting. And then the month after, they have 3 subcommittee meetings. They have a certification subcommittee, an outreach subcommittee, and a compliance subcommittee. Those are 3 very important factors for the BEP. Certification, that's where people are going to come and, how do you say it? When you get denied. What is the word? When you fight the denial.
Appeal.
Appeal. Thank you.
Appeal.
Yes. When this is where you're going to come to appeal application denials. Your compliance. This is where you're going to see how they place goals on contracts and agencies coming to ask for exemptions. This is your opportunity to say, there's no reason for an exemption on this contract because I can provide those services. And then outreach is what I used to do. You could provide information on how, you need us to come out to your community or ideas on how we could spread the word. So I'd be happy to provide all that to you along with the follow-up information.
I have one last question. It's been a while since I was on the GATA site. I have my login and it's asking me to reset my password. It's been about a year and I was having some issues with that. Do you think I just need to redo an account or just, keep working?
No, send me an email with your question because I have booked a consultant to speak on the GATA process. But if I could get you to speak to him before my webinar, I don't want you to wait that long. If you could detail that to me in an email, and I will address it as soon as I can.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You said
Anyone else?
the gentleman
Yes.
is Juan, who you said you would like for me to speak with?
Jesse Martinez.
Jesse Martinez. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure. Will, I've known you, right? From the BEP? Your name sounds very familiar.
Man, I was just sitting there. I'm trying to remember who introduced us together, but it's been a couple years now, and you're the reason why I got my minority certification, all my certifications. But we went back some years back, and you helped me and worked with me to get my stuff together for both my business, and I'm happy to see you moving forward in life.
Likewise, Will. It's good to see you again.
Yes, but she spoke about the Minority Infrastructure Capital Program.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure, she was saying it was a program that was kind of more designed for people with the minority certifications. And it was an infrastructure capital program. She spoke real briefly on it, but I didn't see a contact information for that particular program.
Yeah, Will, send me an email and I'll reach out to Diana to provide that to us specifically.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
And I know you said Jesse Martinez. Can I get that hook up too, that connection too?
Put that in your email to me. I'd be very happy to introduce you. He's very active and a great advocate for all of our BEP members.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I've really taken up a lot of your time today. Again, I appreciate you joining us. I hope this was useful and informational to all. Please keep us in mind for future events. We will be putting some out pretty frequently. So again, a lot of these have the benefit of you joining us later for one-on-one consultations with these subject matter experts. So again, I thank you for joining us. I am very happy to see a lot of familiar faces, and I hope to continue working with you.
Thank you so much. Good night, you guys. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
This is Melanie
Bye-bye.
with Integrity Transit.